Are you nervous about MEPS? Don't be. There's nothing really to be nervous about. I mean, sure, I guess it could be the matter of if you join the military and changes your life and you become a career individual from the military with all these benefits and great things, and then it all falls apart because, you know, you didn't pass MEPS. But other than that, you shouldn't worry about MEPS, right? Make sure you have to pee though. That's pretty important. What's up, my friends? Welcome. Today I want to talk about a little bit what happens at MEPS. Now, can it differ based on your location? Of course, right? MEPS, for the most part, have certain boxes they have to check, what order they do it in, and how the process kind of goes may vary based on how that MEPS is run. But for the most part, a lot of these things are things that they're going to have to do at every single MEPS place. And I want to give you a little bit of a heads up to go into it and know a little bit of what's possibly going to happen when you go to MEPS. Hey, I need you to do me a favor though, before we continue on this video. If this is the type of content you're interested in, especially about the United States Army, then make sure you hit that subscribe button, you're hitting that thumbs up, and you're dropping some comments. But let's get into the video. So your experience is probably going to start off the day before, actually. You'll probably start off with your recruiter probably picking you up and taking you to wherever that MEP station is at. If it's in your local town, cool, maybe a little bit easier of a process. Even so, you may still stay in a hotel, even if it's in the same town you are. And then if it's in another town, then of course you got to stay in a different kind of city, and so you're going to be staying in a hotel. You're probably going to be stuck with a roommate in this hotel. Probably a good chance, right? Probably someone of the same sex as you, and you're probably just going to get some hotel that's probably right next to MEPS, right in that same area of MEPS most likely, and you're going to probably have another individual that's in that room. Probably just a basic room with 2 queen beds, and you got to share a room with someone that hopefully doesn't smell and doesn't snore. But the day is going to probably start off pretty early in the morning. You're probably going to have to go over to MEPS, which may be right across the street from the hotel or right nearby. I don't know. It may depend on the area, but you're going to probably start off with some kind of briefing that you all have to be at early in the morning to start the process at MEPS, and probably receive like a packet that is going to allow you to go to different stations and everything. Typically, you have to dress pretty nicely for these things. You can't just go in raggedy ass clothes. You may have some kind of dress code that probably your recruiter's probably gonna tell you about. Maybe it's slacks with a collared shirt and you have to tuck it in, or whatever the case is. But hopefully, if you got a decent enough recruiter, they should give you that heads up. But there's typically, they want you to look presentable. You can't be showing up in like jorts and your tank top and your hat backwards and all sorts of crazy stuff. You usually gotta look pretty decent. But then what happens? Sorry, this lighting is really dramatic, probably looking. I don't know if it kind of sets the mood. It's probably just more intimidating than anything. Probably shouldn't go with this kind of lighting, huh? So you're gonna be sent off to some different stations, all right? You're gonna be sent off to some different stations, and possibly if you have not yet done the ASVAB, then you'll have to do that at MEPS. But typically you should do that prior. You know, the recruiter's either gonna have you do the ASVAB, which is the full-blown thing, and you have to do that proctored, and so you have to make sure you're not cheating, or you do the PCAT, or PICAT. I guess a lot of people did not like it before in a video where I called it the PCAT, and they tried to correct me saying it's the PICAT. It doesn't care. Nobody really cares how you call it. Nonetheless, that's a test that you're gonna have to do. You get to do that one from home though, and then you have to do a verification test. So at MEPS, you may have to still do the PICAT verification to make sure that when you did the test at home, you weren't cheating. Amongst a lot of the stations you're gonna have to go through, there's gonna be like a vision test. They're gonna check your vision to see, hey, if you wear glasses, cool. Do your glasses work well enough? Or if you wear contacts, right, then you just gotta make sure to probably let them know, hey, I got contacts in, and you know, all this kind of stuff. So that way they know that you got good vision. They're gonna test your colorblind, see if you're colorblind, because if you are colorblind, then that definitely eliminates a lot of jobs usually for you, but they're gonna be checking that stuff. They're gonna go over a lot of your past, right? A lot of people hate this because sometimes there's some crap in your medical history in your past that may screw you over, and some of it kind of depends, right? There's a lot of things that could disqualify you. Hopefully your recruiter screened you for some of these things that probably would disqualify you, but nonetheless, they're gonna look back into that. They're gonna be able to have access to your medical records, and they're gonna be able to see, because if you're lying about it, they're gonna figure that stuff out because they're gonna find that information in your records. So there's no sense in lying about it for the most part. I mean, don't panic and be like, when I was like 11, I had asthma. But if you're not currently having asthma, you're not currently being treated for asthma, don't stress it, right? They're gonna find that stuff probably anyways, but then they're gonna see, okay, he's not currently being treated for asthma, not currently being treated for this, and they probably won't care. Their main concern is gonna come from things that you're currently diagnosed with, currently being treated for. That's gonna be their concern. If there's things in there that you're currently being treated for, then maybe if it's a thing that, you know, is on their list of things to watch out for, then yeah, it could require you to have a waiver, it could disqualify you. Who knows, right? It's really going to depend on that doctor, because you might have a situation where you go to MEPS at this location and you had this certain situation that was on your medical records, you're currently being treated for it, not a big deal. They let you on in. But somebody else, they had to get a waiver for it. So it does vary a little bit sometimes. They're going to check your height and weight because that matters, right? You have to be within a certain height limit, and based on your height, you have to be within a certain weight. And if you're not, then they know you need to lose some weight or even gain some weight, because you can also be underweight too. But you have to be in a certain range that's acceptable for your height and everything, for your age. And you can find that stuff on the internet anyways. Your recruiter probably should pre-screen you for that in the first place before you go to MEPS, and they'll know if you are close to it or if you're good or whatever. But they got to make sure that you're within the standards for the military branch that you're wanting to join to make sure you can. If it turns out you're not within those standards, then they may tell you, hey, you got to lose X amount of pounds, or you got to gain X amount of pounds before you be eligible, right? You won't be like permanently, you know, disqualified from the military, but you're gonna have to meet those requirements. They may even still have you complete the entire process. That way, the next time you come back, they just have to check your weight to make sure you're good now. There is a part that that you'll hate, most likely. I mean, most veterans hate this part because it's something you even still continue to do in the military, and that's a hearing test. Because you'll be in these little soundproof booths with headphones on and a little button to press to try to test your hearing to see if it's good, and that test sucks. It's such a pain in the ass. You're concentrating, you're trying to listen really well, and you're like, did I hear something? I'll press it anyways, right? It's a pain in the ass, especially for veterans, because you've probably been through some crap and it's probably messed with your hearing a little bit. But then you need to make sure that before you join, you're not going in with already having bad hearing. So you got to do the hearing test, right? You got to pass the hearing test. If you're partially deaf in one ear or whatever, it may disqualify you. It really depends probably how bad it is. But yeah, I mean, it's going to matter. So take care of your ears, take care of your hearing. Maybe don't listen to your music so loud in your car, or make sure you wear ear protection when you're out hunting or something. I don't know. Protect your ears, I guess. If you're afraid of needles, they're probably going to draw some blood to make sure you don't have any kind of serious diseases that could affect you or whatever the case is. So they're probably going to draw some blood so they can run some tests on it. At the beginning of the video, I joked about make sure you have to pee, but that's actually a legitimate piece of advice, because at some point you're going to have to do a urine test. They're going to test your urine to see if you have any drugs in your system, and if you do, then yeah, that can disqualify you. Sometimes if you're upfront about it, then they may just have you come back at another point in time to retest, but have you still do the whole process. But nonetheless, they're gonna have you pee in a cup at some point. It's gonna be a required thing, because they gotta drug test you, they gotta check that urine. And for females, they're also gonna use that to do a pregnancy test. I don't know if they'll have you pee in a separate cup or how they do it, but they are gonna check to make sure you're not pregnant, because you can't go off to basic pregnant. You can get pregnant in the Army, that's fine, or in the military really, right? But you can't be pregnant and go off to initial training. There is a physical process of this as well, right? We're gonna have to do some things. They're gonna have to do some exercises in a way that kind of really test like your balance, test your joints to make sure you can move. Probably do the dreaded duck walk. I remember when we did it, we had to do it all in our underwear. We were all guys in one room, and probably somewhere in another room was all females doing it in their underwear. But we were all in this room in our underwear, doing a duck walk in a circle to make sure everybody can keep their balance and they can move their joints and do all sorts of stuff. And if you can't do that stuff, then you may be red flagged. Maybe you have to get a waiver for certain things. Maybe you get disqualified. I don't know. I guess it depends on why you couldn't do whatever the thing was that they have you do. But they gotta make sure that you're physically capable of being in the military. There's probably gonna be a lot of other random things, maybe like a background check, some interviews and stuff, but nonetheless, once you get through all of these stations to make sure you're fit to be in the Army, you'll finally get to talk with someone about your job opportunities if you qualify to be joining the military. So this is all based on like your scores from the ASVAB or the PCAT, PICAT, and how you did physically, if you're red, green, colorblind, and what's available too, because you could qualify for everything, but sometimes just not everything is available. So you're gonna sit down with that counselor and they're gonna kind of go over your options to see what you wanna do and see if what you wanna do is available, and then if so, then you can sign your contract and move on. So once you've kind of done all that, you'll probably have to hang around for a little bit until you got several people, then you'll go into a room with other people that are joining all sorts of different branches, and probably have to do a little oath. You'll raise your right hand and repeat after the individual that's having you repeat the oath, and you guys will all do it together, and then you're officially in the military, sort of. Not really. I mean, you're really officially in the military day one of basic training, but It looks cool, and sometimes if you want to have family come hang out in that room when you go to do the oath, they'll sometimes allow you to do that. They'll probably take some pictures and stuff and allow you to bring in maybe your spouse or your mom and dad or whatever to watch you do the oath and join the military. But like I said, you're not officially in until you go off to basic training, boot camp, whatever you're going to. Day 1 of that initial training, that's when you're officially in. During this process, you're probably gonna get breakfast, by the way, in the morning. You probably even break for lunch, and you'll probably even get fed and everything else like that. But my viewers out there that are watching this, let me know down in the comment section down below, what was your experience like with MEPS? Was it good? Was it stressful? Was there, some crazy stuff you saw? Was there whatever, right? Let me know down in the comment section down below what your MEPS kind of experience was like. That way the viewers that are watching this video to get a little bit of insight about MEPS can also read the comments and kind of see what other people are saying about MEPS. Now, if you're heading off to MEPS sometime soon, let me know down in the comment section down below what it is you're worried about, maybe what the job you're hoping to get, what branch of service are you going for, and if it's something other than Army, well, no, I don't really care what branch of service you join, right? I'm a little biased to the Army, but there's probably better options than the Army. I want to hear about it down in the comments. Comment down below. If you want to support the channel, there's many ways you can do so. Links down in the description box to my website. You can visit my merch store to visit christopherchaos.com/store. And then there's always the free option. Just hit that subscribe button. That's all you got to do. Hit that damn subscribe button, thumbs up, comment down below. But nonetheless, I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Christopher Chaos. I'll see you next time. See ya.